had no choice but to consider every input I attained as ideal. I kept a wide range of chemicals as if I was no longer a farmer but a research chemist. I got depression and stress-related illnesses. My family and I suffered from malnutrition. I felt futile and not supportive to my family. I would spend sleepless nights trying to figure out where I had gone wrong with my farming. I became an epitome of a distressed man.
For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell cracks, its insides come out, and everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like complete destruction. This is a quote from Cynthia Ocelli. The powerful words and images given to us by Dion Mukapi and Cynthia Ocelli suggest that sometimes we reach a breaking point or become ill before we realize the changes we need to make in order to thrive, before we realize that we are what we eat.
This episode is all about powerful connections between what we eat and what we become. We are diving into the inspiring stories from individuals who have transformed their lives from a shift back to organic and traditional foods. From personal health improvements to broader community impacts, we'll explore how paying more attention to our food is reshaping lives and promoting well-being.
Yes, in today's fast-paced world, convenience often outweighs health considerations. But what if we told you that going back to traditional organic foods could be the key to a healthier, happier life?
This is why, in this episode, we'll share inspiring stories like Dion's that highlight the remarkable benefits of embracing natural whole foods.
We're joined in the studio today by Hlupekile Mjuruki and Mncedi Sinyati. They took part in the Co-Create Change Storytelling Workshop program from which this podcast series was born and will be guiding us through some of the stories of change. Welcome, guys.
Hi, guys. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us. This is Mncedi Sinyati from Bulawayo.
And I'm Hlupekile Mjuruki from Makonde. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Let's get into the stories.
Okay, first, let's hear from Sipiwe Dube in Mangwe District, Matebelelen South. Spiwes is an upsetting and disturbing story and highlights the critical, really foundational problem of addressing malnutrition in pregnancy, especially for young mothers to be in vulnerable communities.
We talked about the high levels of malnutrition in the district, and she said she's not surprised with the number of teenage pregnancies in the district. And she says when she goes to the district hospital, she sees so many teenage moms. She lamented, she almost cried when she said she saw a couple of the mothers when she went to the hospital who did not have food. They did not have food, and they didn't know where they were going to get their next meal. As development partners, we need to start thinking about behavior change.
Sipiwe's story sheds light on the urgent need to address malnutrition and food insecurity in vulnerable communities, especially for pregnant women. There are so many knock-on effects. There are many issues that we could discuss here, but Sipiwe's call for behavior change and better food access for the vulnerable is a reminder of the broader impact of inequitable food systems on community health. This is not only an issue for marginalized communities in Zimbabwe, it is of global relevance.
Yes, Ncedisi, this is an issue that requires policy intervention. Let's listen to Shien Mukochea from Manicaland province, who reflects on her own difficult experiences, which she courageously transformed into a journey of healing and helping others in her community.
It is only in 2015 when I had a stillbirth, I realized that I contributed to some of the things by the food which I was eating when I was carrying this baby. I realized that the food you are eating is also life. Now I'm helping other women, pregnant women, myself, to eat healthy, to eat organic foods, wild fruits, mufushkwa, matowe, nunduru, sambatsi, to help my body to grow well.
Sheehan's story illustrates the deep connection between diet and health, and her advocacy for healthier eating choices is very inspiring.
Such an important and difficult systematic issue, Ncedisi. We can often feel quite powerless as individuals, but we must remember that we do have some power in our hands to shape our own diets and to influence our local communities, like Sheehan is doing. Her story links nicely to the story of Florence Gusha from Kweru, Midlands Province. Florence shares her own transformative experience and how changing her eating habits helped her to manage her asthma.
It didn't seem as there would be any change upon my health due to continuous asthmatic attack I would have, until one day the doctor came to me on my hospital bed as I struggled to breathe and said, "Florence, this situation can be different if only you can change the type of food you eat. Begin eating organic foods like sadza rerukweza, sadza remunga, mutakura wenyimo, mutakura wenyemba, blackjack, which you can take as relish or even as tea. You can also put baobab powder in your porridge and even take it as coffee, just to name a few." In essence, the doctor was telling me to completely stop eating the oily foods that I used to eat. Difficult as it was, I religiously began to have the suggested foods, and alas, the rate of the asthmatic attacks started to reduce significantly. And as I speak right now, I don't remember when I last had an asthmatic attack.
Florence's story, which you can listen to in full on YouTube, is a testament of the health benefits of organic whole foods such as rapoko, millet, baobab powder, which to a large extent are a part of our traditional cuisine in Zimbabwe. Her advocacy for organic diet has not only improved her health, but has also benefited those around her. We can hear a similar story of change from Margaret Maziti of Chaseyama, Chimanimani district, who shares how traditional herbal remedies have helped her to manage her diabetes and blood pressure.
In 2018, I heard about Porridge Trust and I visited the center. I learned about different traditional medicines for free. I got to know different herbs and I was lucky and grateful to learn about Musawa tree, which would heal my sickness. Now I am happy because I am healthy.
Margaret's story is a reminder of the effectiveness of some traditional remedies. Her story emphasizes the value of integrating indigenous knowledge into modern health practices. However, we should do so mindfully, based on proper evidence, of course.
Now, let's hear from Tsitsi Mayakaza, also from Kufunda village, Ruwa, Mashonaland East. Tsitsi's shift to organic farming has resolved chronic health issues for herself and her family. She reminds us that it is important not only to pay attention to consumption behavior, but we must also look at the health aspects of our agricultural production systems.
I used to buy food from Bare and other local farmers nearby, and I used to be sick every time with this running stomach. Then I was introduced to health living and eating organic food. I made the choice to grow my own organic food. So I participated in permaculture, making composts, organic liquid, and my health have completely changed. Now I don't have a running stomach, even my family. So let the food be our medicine.
Tsitsi's story highlights the benefits of growing your own organic food. Her story reinforces the idea that food can be a powerful tool for healing. Tsitsi lives and works as center manager and chef at Kufunda village, which is where Dion Mugabi, who opened this episode, also resides. Let's listen to Dion again.
It is my pleasure to have this opportunity to share my story with you, how organic farming transformed my life. I lived a miserable life as an agrochemical farmer, going door to door every rainy season, begging for inputs, for I could barely afford to buy them myself. I would get handfuls of seeds and tablespoonfuls of chemicals from the Good Samaritans. Unfortunately, my seeds would be of every description, all varieties. I had no choice but to consider every input I attained as ideal. I kept a wide range of chemicals as if I was no longer a farmer but a research chemist. My land was gradually losing its vitality and almost becoming barren, probably due to the method of farming that could neither improve the properties of the soil nor honor the environment. I could hardly produce enough food to feed my family adequately. My family and I suffered from malnutrition. I felt futile and not supportive to my family. I suffered from insomnia, the condition of unable to sleep. I would spend sleepless nights trying to figure out where I had gone wrong with my farming. I became an epitome of a distressed man. However, in 2018, I attended a workshop at Kufunda pertaining good farming methods, and that workshop marked my turning point.
Dion's story reminds us again that it is not only what we put on our plates and in our bellies that affects our health. The conditions under which food is produced, including the use of chemical inputs, affects our health in a variety of ways, physically, financially, emotionally, and mentally.
Yes, thanks Ncedisi. Now let's end with a story from Stephen Diwauripo, also from Kufunda village in Ruwa, who shows us how we can change one thing, and it cascades to a variety of changes in our food system and way of life. Stephen's dietary change journey began when he realized that sugary, fizzy drinks were adversely affecting his health. He experienced sleepless nights and weakness, and this forced him to rethink his dietary habits.
I would like to share how I've changed in terms of food consumption. I was getting sick. Whenever I drink, I couldn't sleep at night. I've noticed that sugar is the one that is behind all the stuff. I've noticed that I need to change in terms of how I perceive food, how I eat, how I see food, and how I eat food. Now I stopped drinking fizzy drinks and I am making my own juice using baobab powder, and it's a fruit juice. And I'm enjoying it. I grow my own organic vegetables and I also sell surplus. I do my farming in my fields. I try by all means to be organic. Just a few things that I can't afford to grow. It's the only thing that I can buy because I value my health, I value my life, and I value my family.
Stephen's story is a powerful example of how making really simple dietary changes can lead to significant improvements in health.
Wow, wow, wow. That was an inspiring message from Stephen and makes me think about everyone suffering from type 2 diabetes and other diet-related illnesses, how they could benefit from making these kinds of changes in their diet.
Thank you, Ncedisi and Hlupe, for joining us today. It has been very inspiring to hear from people who are making positive changes in their food system and experiencing improved health as a result.
Thank you so much, guys. As we've heard through these stories and practitioners, returning to organic and traditional foods has transformed their lives in profound ways. From improving personal health to enhancing community well-being, these stories offer valuable lessons. To support this shift, we need policies that promote nutritional diversity and healthy eating to encourage consumers to choose diverse, fresh, organic, and traditional whole foods and integrate useful herbs and natural remedies into their healthcare practices to support holistic well-being.
We also call for consumers to reduce their consumption of sugary foods. From higher up, the new 2024 sugar levy on beverages needs to be rigorously implemented, and the levy should also apply to breads and breakfast cereals. We also need to see a review of educational programs to place more emphasis on encouraging healthy diets from early years onwards.
We also need the government to empower organizations like the Consumer Council of Zimbabwe to rigorously check food items in the shops to ensure that they're safe for consumption and assess their impact on health. We should see stronger measures and penalties for those who violate food safety laws.
Indeed, Rudo, and we need to take a joined-up systems approach. We also need policies to boost small-scale agro-processing and organic farming and investment in community projects that promote healthier eating and sustainable local food systems. For organic farmers to be more viable, we need better markets for organic products to increase their visibility and consumer demand.
Yeah, and finally, funding councils should support research to deepen knowledge and evidence for the nutritional and medicinal properties of our traditional foods and herbs. We need stronger evidence base.
It's time for a collective effort from consumers, farmers, processors, retailers, government bodies, and policymakers to accept the connection between food systems and health. We all need to support changes that benefit our health and the environment. And remember, we are what we eat.
Thank you for joining us today for this taste of stories that connect our food systems and food choices with our health.
You can listen to more inspiring stories of change and get further information by visiting our website. Check it out by searching Co-Creating Sustainable Food Systems Story Map or follow us on YouTube.
If you found this episode to be insightful, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it. Stay tuned for more food system stories and solutions to co-create a healthier world.
This was Rudo Chakanyuka
and Sydney Mangweka.
On behalf of the Co-Create Change team, we thank you for listening.